There are a lot of things that have happened in my life that I've forgotten. My locker combination in high school, the first taste of cantaloupe, and even what I had for breakfast 3 days ago. However, I strongly remember my first academic advising appointment at the university I attended as an undergraduate. I was a first-generation college student who knew absolutely nothing about navigating the educational system, but there I was, sitting in that chair, getting my first semester schedule together. The advisor asked me what I wanted to study, and without hesitation, I said, I want to study race relations. I was well aware of the pervasiveness of the social problem of racism and wanted to dismantle it. We don't have a curriculum for that, she said, but we do have a class in African American Studies. I responded with, yes, sign me up for that class, please. I was excited about the class and ready to learn all that I could. After the appointment was over, I eagerly headed to the bookstore. I felt like my brain was already getting larger as I walked through the quad, full well knowing that I was crossing over into unfamiliar and unexplored domains of thought. The textbook for the class was The African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality by Sheikh Anta Diop. And it was some heavy content that literally blew my mind. I thought to myself, you mean to tell me all peoples, including me, originated from Africa and this was never taught to me? Understanding the way in which intentional omission of African history and the contributions of African people to the world were part of the umbrella of white supremacy was a truth I hadn't contemplated to that depth before, or even had the critical thinking skills to do so. Mind you, this was 30 years ago, before the internet, and at a time when periodicals and journals had to be literally pulled from the library shelves and read right there on the spot, or photocopied and read later. For me, new knowledge reveals the truth, and who doesn't want to know the truth? Well, over time, I've learned that a lot of people don't, and a lot more want to keep people from it. Dr. Clovis E. Sims, Jebulani K. Makalani, was the professor for the class and one of the most brilliant people I have ever met to this day, and one of the most skilled and eloquent writers on the planet. In his bio on encyclopedia.com, he states, "My motivation to research and write has always been to reveal and disable the social and historical forces that have functioned to disadvantage and oppress Black communities. Additionally, I believe my writing offers, through a focus on the African American experience, an important medium to comprehend the universal human impulse to achieve social justice and human dignity." It was because of him and that African American Studies 101 course that I ended up double majoring in African American Studies and sociology. It was because of him and subsequent courses that I took with him that I was able to develop my thinking and writing to levels that were unimaginable, and this prepared me for graduate level work. In graduate school, I pursued an MS degree and majored in the sociology of education, a small program housed in the Department of Educational Policy Studies. It was an interdisciplinary major which allowed one to tailor their classes towards their educational interests and pursuits. I was able to take a deep dive into the historical intersection of race and class in American education. I wanted to understand why education was not freeing everyone from oppression and creating a more progressive society that could work towards solving social problems instead of adding to them. It was in graduate school that I learned about the hidden curriculum, which is so well hidden that it's difficult to even detect. The term hidden curriculum refers to an amorphous collection of implicit academic, social, and cultural messages, unwritten rules and unspoken expectations, and unofficial norms, behaviors, and values of the dominant culture context in which all teaching and learning are situated. These assumptions and expectations that are not formally communicated, established, or conveyed stipulate the right way to think, speak, look, and behave in school. Through my graduate study, I gained a greater understanding of the pervasiveness of the hidden curriculum and the role that it plays, not in dismantling educational inequities, but instead creating and maintaining them. Through the educational system itself, the racist, classist system of oppression would continue unabated, and the wealthy elites would continue to reap its benefits. When I first heard about the recent statement made touting the absolutely absurd and deranged idea that enslaved Africans benefited from the American slavery system, I was floored, I was disturbed, I was angry, and I was deeply saddened. Truth be told, my initial reaction was, what the f***? I had to pause and dig much deeper than was presented in the surface. I then took my mind through the mental process of dissecting the many contributors to this very moment in the time and going far beyond the obvious. I thought about the contributors to the meta problem of modern miseducation. The textbook publishers, who have a great responsibility in shaping minds. Academicians who write textbooks for the publishers. The system of higher education in which these academicians were trained. The system in which K through 12 teachers established foundational ways of thinking for future academicians. And alas, the entire educational system in the society being an extension of the government, which includes the federal level, state level, and local levels. Look, there are problems at all levels of the education system. This is true. But please stop using the word uneducated to describe those who continue to perpetuate white supremacy. Most of these individuals are highly educated people who have made instead a conscious choice to maintain the system of oppression that they themselves have both historically and contemporarily benefited from. I didn't want this to be a full-on lesson, but I just can't keep quiet when I share with you that I am feeling all kinds of things about where we as a society find ourselves today. The idealistic burning fires of my fight the power youth, although remain, have been depleted and continue to be squelched by the reality of the times. But I cannot live each day without there being some fight, some oppositional energies evoked towards dismantling oppression and societal evils, as well as some optimism for a better tomorrow for everyone. However, I believe that optimism can only linger when we continue to push against the system and operate each day of our lives with an ethic of zero tolerance for the manipulative efforts of miseducation that persist, especially when they have been placed right in front of us.